Good morning, it's Kirsten at Peace Point Productions, and today I want to talk about narcissists and shame. They seem to go hand in hand, the two. I was going to talk about something else, but the universe just kind of snatched it out of my chest, and instead I'm going to talk about shame. Shame is a heavy load, and it tends to be pretty prevalent in societies that use it to keep people, down. I'm gonna say, keep them down. Keep them feeling guilty, keep them feeling bad. Toxic shame and guilt. That's something that you've probably had maybe since you were a little kid, and you've gotten it from school teachers, people around you. Narcissists don't feel their shame or guilt. They don't want to. They could heal if they felt it. That's the way to recovery for them. I think that narcissists can recover, and I think that society lets them get away with a lot. So that's the other topic I wanted to talk about. How we let narcissists get away with their behavior. We do, we coddle them. It's like we think that they're special characters who can just get away with behavior that nobody, not even a 5-year-old, would get away with. And maybe when they were 5, they got away with that behavior and nobody's put smack down. And so now they're still doing it. And nobody's putting smack down. They're just going around and spreading guilt and shame and storing it in other people. I'll talk about that later. They basically don't feel their own guilt and shame, and they will store it in you. So you are basically, when you start dating a narcissist, a storage container for their shame and guilt. But you don't know this because it's a slow play, and it's so hard to figure out. It sounds crazy. It totally sounds nuts. I mean, come on, dude. I dressed up for the occasion. It's like, why not be freaky for this really weird topic? I mean, why would you do that? Who would do that? You know that the key to your happiness is through the emotions, right? Your shame, your guilt, your fear, you feel them, and then you can work through it. But some people have not had the experience of having a comforting process through the shame and guilt. Maybe they've held the shame and guilt their whole life, or maybe at a young age, like narcissists, they decided that they wanted to make sure that everybody else felt the shame and guilt because they don't feel empathy, they don't feel the normal things that you would feel. And there's something that I'd like to talk about. I wish I could remember the word of it. Basically, it's reciprocity, but I'll have to find the phrase for you. And, I'm just winging it here all the time, so you just have to bear with me. But, if it sounds interesting, I don't come back to it, then remind me. But this one was basically the idea that when you speak with a person and you're having an emotion, they share that emotion, and there's a word for it. I'm trying to think of it. It's not reciprocity, but it's basically this sense that you're connecting with the human. So you'll find after a while with narcissists that you are not connecting. You don't feel like there's a reciprocity, and they're not mirroring your emotions. They're just looking at you. There's this flat look that you can tell. You just know. It's almost like they're a cyborg or something, but they're human. They're human. They've just decided not to develop their real self. At a very young age, they decided they were going to hand off their real self, and so their real self is somewhere in there trapped. Maybe it's 4, who knows what's going on, but they have not taken the time to get that self out. Society has not helped them get it out by calling them out, so I guess a lot of people right now are calling them out on their shit, and it's a mass reckoning for narcissists. At least people that are looking for it. So it may seem a little bit like, oh my God, why is everybody obsessed with it? Why is this, that, the, and the other? Well, there's a big prevalence of people looking for, how to deal with these individuals, and they're dealing with these kind of behaviors that most humans don't necessarily have to deal with. It's a pretty small percentage if you really look at it. I mean, it's not that big to people who aren't searching for it, and it's almost like looking up sociopaths or psychopaths or something like that. It's, they're not the same. They're a little different. They're very, very interesting in the way that they operate, I guess, and that's why people are fascinated with them. But they're also annoyed and perturbed by them because these people, if they come into businesses, when I was taking organizational behavior class for my MBA, they will definitely not be a good fit for your business if you have a narcissist. I have actually taken classes where they have talked about the dark triad, these 3 types of personalities, the narcissist, psychopaths, and sociopaths, which are 3 distinct cluster B personalities that will not be a good fit for your office. And if you have that in your office, you're gonna have a problem. And so it's gonna be a problem eventually. So if you find yourself dealing with them, you might find yourself coming to these kinds of videos because you don't know what to do. And you're kind of just like, all right, dude, I have this character that is just like messing with everybody, and there's always drama, and I don't know what to do. And well, you definitely need to like consider that you might be dealing with a narcissist. And if you are, I'm sorry, they're really hard to get rid of. And, they're easy to anger. They get offended at everything that you do, unless it's kind of boosting their own ego. You cannot please a narcissist. That was the other thing I wanted to talk about. You absolutely cannot please a narcissist. There's nothing you can do to please them. It may seem temporarily, it's like a slot machine. Like you're playing the slot, once in a while you win, a couple nickels, and so you put all your nickels back in and you end up losing more than ever. Well, that's exactly what it's like to play with a narcissist. You're gonna lose all your nickels and more. You're gonna have to go, dig into the money that was for your food, and then you'll find that they're eating very heartily and they're doing just fine. They don't care. They didn't feel any shame for what they did because they put it in you. So I don't know how this works. It seems like some sort of metaphysical, like, witchy thing that they do, where they're just like, hey, you look like a good reciprocal for my shame, guilt, fear, and all the emotions that humans have to have, but I don't want to face, and I'll just put into you because I've been doing that since I was a little kid. It's almost like they signed some sort of contract or pact. We are just not going to be human. We're not going to treat people with dignity, and we're not going to be human, and we're not going to feel our own shame. We're going to definitely take it out on other people. We're not going to let them succeed. We don't want them to succeed because we're so lazy. We decided that we just have to tear down everybody who's succeeding. But that's a lot of work. I mean, you think about it. How much work are narcissists doing? I thought about this. The narcissist investment in a human is a lot. It's a lot of investment. That investment that they put in you to try to get you to be whatever they want you to be, they're not going to give that up easy. That's a huge investment. It's not really the best business investment. That's probably why they have spinning plates, which means they have multiple women or multiple men on the plate that they're kind of grooming and nursing, and they're really, really into talk about triangulation, having multiple women on the plate at the same time. They won't tell you about that, but they always have somebody there. They can't be alone. They just cannot be alone. And so if they're telling you that they miss you, they can't do without you, it just means that they can't find another supply out there. It's not your fault. It's not your duty. You did not sign up with God to take care of the narcissist. You were duped. And so if you find that somebody's storing their shame and guilt in you, that's some extra load that you gotta bear, including the shame and guilt of having dealt with this type of character and their type of shady behavior. So man, just take a break, get some space from them, and you'll find that that guilt and shame starts to separate from you, and you'll find that you know which is yours and which is theirs. But it's just definitely, I just wanted to talk about the phenomenon because I think it's so weird. Like, how do you even do that? How do you even project? So I've learned that projection is it's basically, we haven't evolved. So when you project, you decide that you're not going to feel your emotions. You project them on the other person. And it's like you're always with somebody who's holding up a mirror, like, oh my God, look at you, oh, I can never look at myself, sorry, my mirror's very dirty, I never use it, but it's it's just like, whoa. So if you're not schooled in dealing with that type of thing, it might just be a one-time encounter and you're like, okay, that was really weird, I just definitely need to talk to somebody about this. Or you might find that you're feeling really guilty and ashamed and sad and you don't want to talk to anybody about it because you did some things with a narcissist and you don't want to talk to people about them and you feel guilty, you feel like you were complicit. Well, you weren't. These are not things that you would do, not things that you want to do. They're very manipulative people. Once you decide that you are kind of trapped in a situation that you found is going against your morals and everything, just get out. Whatever it takes, doesn't matter, house, money, car, kids. Dude, it's not worth it. It's not gonna work. Look at the evidence of what's behind you. Nothing ever worked, right? You were doing all the work, you were bringing everything to the table, and you were feeling all emotions for everybody. Well, just give those back. I give those emotions back. I give all emotions back to anybody who stored them in me. Say that. I give all emotions back to anybody who has stored their emotions in me. They are now responsible for their own emotions. And I am free to be the human being that I am with my own emotions, and I'm okay to feel my own emotions, and they're fine. They don't need to be shamed and put down by the narcissist because they don't fit their needs. So anyways, this was not what I planned to do today, but there you go. Have fun. Guilt and shame and the narcissist.